Thank you so much for joining us for today's webinar. I'm really excited to see so many people registering their interest to learn more about seafood careers. We're super excited to have this platform live and available for everyone in industry to have a play with. If you'd like to have your cameras on, that would be lovely. Then I know you can see and hear me, but otherwise, please do let us know if you've got any questions as we're popping along. Hey, Clayton, please do pop your hands up and we'll make sure we come back to you with those questions. So my name's Julie Petty. I work with Seafood Industry Australia as General Manager for Projects and Policy. Together with FRDC, we've been driving this project forward over the last couple of years, looking at, I guess, how we can better address the skills and labour shortage we're seeing in the seafood industry. What we've been working on, we a little while ago received a grant through David Littleproud's Ag Up program, which enabled us to kick this off and start funding the development of a seafood-focused careers platform for the industry. We're really excited to acknowledge and thank the Department of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries for their funding in helping us establish this, and we also we're very excited to partner with FRDC in terms of the build for the platform and helping with the content generation. So what we wanted to do today was very much take you through the platform, just a bit of the thinking behind it, some of the I guess tools and information we have up there at the moment, how you can use that, and what's coming in the near future. Because at the moment we're sort of thinking this is chapter 1, page 1 or page 2 of the novel, and what we'd like to do is in a phased release move forward with additional functionality and I guess service provision across the platform. I think in terms of how the project came about, obviously there's been an ongoing labour and workforce skills crisis within the seafood industry. This, as I mentioned, was part of us recognising that and looking at, well, how can we, perhaps better address this? We looked at what other industries have done in this space. The dairy industry and others have developed platforms like this, and it's been a go-to information platform for the dairy industry for a number of years with great success. We looked at what was out there and we thought we have an opportunity very much to, I guess, build and create a platform for employees by employees. So the other employment platforms you might see out there might, such as Seek and others, can be very much more focused around, the employer's needs. But we thought if we can, I guess, create the mountain of potential employees, the rest of industry will then come to the mountain. We've been really excited to work with the industry around this topic over the last few months just to get some feedback about what's required, and super excited to welcome our 2 platform sponsors into the program as well, being Austral Fisheries and Yamba. They have, really grateful for the support and the show of faith you've given us in jumping on board and helping us support the platform. As I mentioned, this will be a staged release of features, and we're very much looking at this being relevant to aquaculture, wild catch and industry adjacent, whether that's researchers, service providers or government. We've been working with a number of, there's a project steering group across industry, so thank you very much to those and people like Samantha, who's online today as well, who's given us some great feedback, Trisha Beattie, and all the people who've helped us with the user testing. So what we might do is move through with the grand unveiling. Patricia, have you seen, I might just check if you're able to check if Sally has been able to dial in and where she is. That would be great because we're meant to be co-presenting, but that's okay. I will share the screen and we'll crack on. Okay. Sorry, I'm just check that message is not from Sally. Patricia, it's just saying that it's the system's not letting Sally in. Are you or Sarah just able to have a little play around and see what's happening? Thank you so much. All right, so this is Seafood Careers. Hopefully you guys can all see that up on your screen at the moment. Yep, lovely. Okay, so we very much wanted to focus this around there being just I guess, an ocean of opportunity of what is out there in industry. We did some user testing first off within the project, very much looking at, well, what do we think we know? What don't we know? Let's talk to people who've left industry, people who are in industry, and people who don't know anything about us and have never considered working for the seafood industry. There was a couple of things that sort of popped out really strongly for us, and it was things, you know, that's common across platforms, such as, you know, people prefer to use their mobile. There's a lot less usage of websites, platforms on desktop, so obviously you have to build it focusing, making sure it's working on the mobile. We wanted to also look at, was a real lack of awareness of the kind of roles and variety of roles that exist out in the seafood industry, not just with people who've never considered working for us, but even those who might currently be in aquaculture or be in wild catch and just don't think that their skills are transferable, whereas the opposite is true. So we really wanted to highlight that variety. We've been looking at, I guess, how we best showcase that. Sally, I've just jumped across into your section, and I was just about to start talking around how we've that across we're looking at showcasing very much that day in the life. We need to show people what it's like working in the seafood industry, so that they can, instead of just looking at a position description if they see something on Seek, or looking at you know, they're on holidays and then see the boat going past down on the wharf, we need to be able to better articulate what our day in the workplace looks like, so that those people can sort of think, okay, I can see myself in that or not. And hopefully, you know, that then enables people to more quickly, hopefully, transition from thinking about it, looking for something, applying, you know, and that transition through to an actual role in industry. Sally, if you don't mind, I will cover off on the rest of that little section. Yeah, cool. All right. We also wanted to make sure that we talked through some of the lifestyle benefits that our industry has, because it's not all hard work and no play. We want to really showcase that. A big part of what people love in this industry is the variety, and often when you're talking to people, they're like, you know, oh my God, the things I get to see, the sunsets, you know, the marine life, it's that wonderful interaction, and it's part of the draw of working for our industry. And we needed to have a centralised place for employees and employers to house, I guess, training pathways and showcase what a career pathway might look like as well. So particularly for people in industry, that was a bit unclear. Often they're asking their supervisors or business owners, hey, you know, I'm thinking about doing something a bit different. I want to progress, but I'm not sure what should I do? And that employer or supervisor was quite unclear what was out there. So a centralised hub of information was super useful. I think, Sally, is there anything else you would like to add to that particular part of the section? Because otherwise we might start sort of showing people a bit more around the platform itself.
Thanks, Julie. Sorry I'm late, everyone. Sorry I've got a sexy voice as well. I've got the last bit of a cold, so bear with me. No, I think you covered it. And I think it's probably just the user insights have informed, I guess, what we're doing here, and particularly the day in the life and those case studies, like showing people what it's like, was one of the real key insights that we got from the research to inform the platform build. And that was for sort of people, you know, that didn't know very much about seafood and what kind of roles there might be, and also for people in the industry as well. And that curiosity piece, you know, what does it actually look like? What do I actually do? You know, I want to kind of smell it and see it and try it before I buy it. So yeah, just to really highlight that. Thanks, Julie.
No worries, thank you. One of the first things we wanted to do, it was part of that description of, you know, what kind of variety is out there in the industry. And so we were looking at, so there's a search function on the homepage, which is just having a wee think at the moment while Telstra at my end is having a panic attack. But what we've done actually is detail out approximately 100 different role descriptions across the entire industry. So we wanted to try and cover off on everything from, you know, forklift driver, deckhand, chef, through to hatchery manager, through to fisheries officer, researcher, to showcase that breadth. And so, you know, we've tried to make the search functionality make sense, but it's obviously a bit of a test in progress. And so as we've been able to sort of, if you search for deckhand as an example, you can show, well, deckhands here, it might be an entry-level position. Slightly more experience might be first mate. What you can do in terms of the information we've collated around deckhand is very much talking around, this is an example of the kind of thing that's involved. You know, personal attributes might be someone who enjoys physical work, being out and about in the open air. We've got some snippets and information about the kinds of qualifications, skills or experience that they might require as part of that role, an indicative salary range. And I should say that all of this information we've very much tried to road test across, existing information that's already out there, courses and programs and stuff that are available that are cross-linked with these roles to make sure that it was relevant. And then what we've tried to do, wherever possible, is we've linked through to Seek. So if you click on your particular deckhand as the example here, it should hopefully take you through to the variety of roles that might be available on Seek. I should point out that we have already had some feedback that not everyone is advertising on Seek. Definitely recognise that that's part of the challenge. In doing some of the user research, we're very conscious that some people do formally advertise, some people it's word of mouth and it's verbal based. So that's an ongoing challenge. We'd love some feedback from industry about how we better try and capture that and make that as accessible as possible and work with people in that respect. In terms of having the day in the life really prominent for each of these roles, what we'd love to do for the 100 or so roles that we've documented on the platform is be able to have a link here to a video interview with someone who's actually doing that role already. And so that will enable us to say, you know, that person's sort of gone through and perhaps known what they're looking for, was interested in deckhand as a, you know, maybe a stopgap between school and uni perhaps. They might then watch a quick interview with someone who is already in that role. It also allows you to kind of see, well, I might start as a deckhand and go to first mate or commercial diver. There's so many possible ways this could go. So it's about trying to showcase the different pathways, but there's almost infinite. So we're trying to keep that within reason. There's a number of courses and training potentially that might be linked to that particular role. So we've tried to showcase those. And then other related roles that you might be interested in if you've searched in deckhand and you thought, oh, okay, I like working with my hands, for example. So if we head back to the home page, what I also wanted to show you, and this is what we've been working on in the last week or so, is looking at exploring your opportunities. So if you already know what you're kind of looking for, you can use this search functionality here and type in keywords around a role. But if you're, you know, a 17-year-old and you're like, right, no idea, my careers guidance person has referred me through to this, or I've heard about this at a careers day or something like that. What is in the seafood industry that I might be looking for? So we've been playing around with this in the last week or so. I'm very happy to take feedback on this as we're sort of fine-tuning this in the background to make sure the search results make sense. But essentially, you can select, you know, for example, the one I'm going to work through at the moment is I'm studying a trade or another industry-related qualification. I'm interested in, want to learn a trade. I want to have work-life balance. I want to try something new. We've tried to include a variety of options here to sort of get a feeling for the kind of person who's interacting with the site and what they might be interested in. I prefer a mix. I'm neither a hermit nor a total people person, and most jobs are. And what makes me happy? Well, I like being outside. I like travel and adventure, and I really enjoy problem solving, as an example. I like working with my hands. I'm quite proud of this one. I can sell ice to an Eskimo. I like organising things. I'm a bit of a stickler for detail. Tried to keep the language pretty casual here and relatable to people. And then what we've got here is that we'd like to start collecting a little bit of information around, well, who is interacting with our site. And this is based on other sites and programs and stuff that we've looked at to say, well, you know, this is something where we can start building a bit of a database of people potentially interested in work in the seafood industry. So that then takes you through to some search results. Some are entry level, some are experienced. Based on the search criteria, the options that I put in, I could potentially do either. As I said, we've only been working on this in the last week or so, so very interested in getting some feedback from you guys as you might play around with the platform, or if you have some 16-year-olds at home who I could bribe to do this a few times and get some search results, that'd be great. But essentially it allows you to sort of go through and have a look at the kind of roles. And then, you know, Deckhand is one that popped up, so it's one we looked at before with the link through to Seek and the information around wage and skill set, that kind of thing. Sally, I think if you like, we might jump across to you in this next session to talk a little bit around the career pathways, but I'm happy to pause if there's any questions from anyone in the group so far. Yeah, thank you, Rachel. You should see the spreadsheets that are going in behind this, because the hard work to date has been trying to collate the database that sits in behind this and make sure it's all appropriately tagged. And that's an ongoing learning exercise. So very keen if when you're playing around on this, you get some weird kind of, you know, response to your survey or anything like that, please do let us know, because it's possibly something where one thing might have been mistagged in the background, but it's a learning exercise for us all. So Sally, we might jump across into the career pathways.
Yeah, sure. Are you happy to drive? Is that all right, Julie?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, great. So as Julie said, you know, the site's doing quite a lot of things, and the main thing was about having that centralized location where, you know, people could come who didn't know anything about seafood, and also people that are existing, you know, within our workforce could come and see what was available to them. And we heard really clearly through the user research, and I mean, and through most conversations, and it won't be any news to any of you, that career pathways or pathways through the industry are wonderful and complex and very difficult to see at the moment. So one of the challenges we took on with this platform was making them a little bit more visible, a bit more accessible, and bring it to life through the videos and things that we've talked about. So the career pathways section at the moment provides an opportunity for people to click through roles and see what some of those career pathways are that are sitting beneath those. And again, as Julie said, it's a real work in progress. So this is the first iteration of this, and we'll be doing some more finessing and amazingness, I guess, in this space that will allow people to have more of a kind of diagnostic approach. So more like the quiz that Julie has showed you. We're looking at doing a kind of pathways tool that will bring this together and give people real results towards the end of that information that they're putting in, and tell them how and where and why what they need to do, so they can take that away and then run with it. At the moment, for this soft launch phase, you know, until we do the full launch in July, we have got the pathways on there. So as I said, you can go in there and have a look at the role and see what some of those pathways are. Like Julie said, there is a monster spreadsheet writing in the back of this, and also I don't think I have to tell any of you that your career pathway, my career pathway, and Julie's, they're all different, right? So it's really hard. It's not a linear process. It's not something that we can kind of get a spreadsheet almost head around, really. So we're thinking that we need the kind of the technology and the tagging that Julie mentioned to drive that tool that will be the sort of best practice guide to doing some career pathways, and also to doing some planning. So how do we help people actually navigate career pathways? At the moment on the site, we've got some little tips on there that we're going to make a little bit more beautiful in the coming days around what some of those pathways are. So there might be education pathways, you know, it could be training and development that you need to do. It could be industry pathways, so it's that, you know, work on the job, get that experience, and it could be apprenticeship pathways, you know. And then there are all these other pathways that kind of come into the mix sort of down the line, you know, whether it's leadership, whether it's sector-based pathways, whether it's volunteer pathways. You know, you can cut this so many different ways. So I think there's going to be something for everybody, particularly with that tool sort of in the longer term. But in the short term, it really gives that visibility of what some of those pathways might be and how you can actually navigate them. So like Julie said, if you're starting at hand, you know, what does that look like? Where do you go next? Where should you have a look at to see what some of those qualifications might be? Who might you want to talk to, you know, if you're curious about exploring some of those roles? And then you can sort of do more research into, you know, where those jobs might be through Seek, like Julie said, or speaking to people in the industry as well. So I would be really interested again in your feedback around the career pathways, noting that that bigger piece is kind of down the line a little bit. But as a short-term sort of opportunity, we think it's, you know, providing that real visibility of those pathways that are there. Thanks, Julie.
I think we've also done the best we can to try and cross-reference all of this with different certificates, stuff that's available through TAFE or other learning pathways that exist out there in the industry. We've also been talking with, so I believe the farm prawn industry has done some little micro courses that they've developed in consultation with a university. There's some other small little courses that have been developed. I think one for the oyster industry, looking at like being a quality assurance related role. If the stuff industry sectors or businesses or, you know, others have developed, we'd be really happy to try and showcase those as well. It's not always about having a really formalised learning pathway. And we're really conscious that we want to, in our interaction with industry over the coming months as we build this platform further, that's what we really need to draw across, is the character and the soul of the industry, the opportunities that are out there at the moment. A case in point is very much looking at, working, I suppose, not just looking at our career per se, but if we obviously have a huge network of backpackers or people who work on a more ad hoc basis, what we would love to do, and this is one of our next steps, as I say, with the phased release of features with the platform, is to turn this into more of an interactive map. So if you are a backpacker that's just landed in Australia, or you're on the flight over, for example, and you're looking at, well, how do I, you know, complete my rural employment contractual obligations, this might be a way for you to sort of say, okay, at an interactive level, in May, this time of year, in this kind of location, there's these kind of jobs. There's increased demand for these kinds of jobs. And what we'd love to do is be able to help people plot their way in, sort of working around Australia. People are doing that anyway. Let's better connect it. The horticulture industry does it quite well with a program called Harvest Road. So there's lots of opportunity for us to learn from things that other industries have got working really well, and potentially end up, you know, sharing that workforce, because we all need that additional labour, and perhaps we need them at different times of the year. So let's work smarter. We've got some examples, I think, too, of how we would love to see, I guess, steps that we'll take over the next few months. So what we've done is a soft launch of the platform so that we can get it out in the hands of industry, get you guys looking at it, get some feedback. We'll be doing a formal launch, a big, you know, fanfare and banner in Canberra on the 1st of July at Parliamentary Friends of Seafood. So if you haven't already seen that, please make sure you pop that in your calendars. What we'd like to do between now and then is really get as much industry feedback as we can. If you've got additional courses, training, videos, stuff like that you have within your business or your organisation that you'd be happy for us to cross-reference and share, please let us know. We would be very interested in getting as much feedback as we can through this tab here, so sharing your story. As Sally said, everyone's career pathway or journey into this industry is being very different. Now my internet's died. Oh, here we go. Give me a heart attack. So what we've done here is tried to say, okay, as we said, we want to try and match every single one of these roles descriptions that we've developed up with a real person, interview with a real person. And so what we've done is we've made this as easy as we can, hopefully. So what we've got here is some information around, you know, how to go about doing that. So this is easy. You can do it on your phone. So some filming tips, you know, obviously check for the spinach in your teeth first, make sure you're well lit, all that sort of stuff. Make sure you've got a great fish shirt on like Clayton's currently wearing. And then we've got some we've got some sort of prompting questions you could potentially use. So what we would the best thing for me would be if every one of you were able to go out into your workplace, interview yourself, and then 2 other people. That'd be amazing, because then we can sort of start adding in that content into the platform and really make it, really make our industry shine, and the wonderful characters that we have in industry as well. What we've done is we've got a couple of example videos up there already about, you know, here's some examples of what people have already done. So we didn't start from scratch. We really made sure we tried to go across the whole industry and reach out and see what collateral exists there already, what looks really good, how can, you know, what can we replicate. Sally, the SIA team, and I are working over the next couple of months, obviously, to try and increase this industry engagement with people like yourselves. But we're also looking at, over the next 12 months from the 1 July launch, looking at how we can, what careers, expos, events, etc., that we need to, you know, assess and, okay, that one's worthwhile, we'll go to that. We'll make sure we have a presence there to promote industry. We'll have some kind of pack available for people like yourselves, because we can't get everywhere. If you're going to a different event that might be more local to your area, let's tool you guys up to be able to have the same conversations. And then also looking at like a digital marketing strategy as well. So making sure we're up there in the top of the search results when people are looking for roles. And have a bit of a media kit available for businesses like yourselves to be able to link back to this and, you know, cross-reference back with learning opportunities or tools or roles that you might have. Sally, is there anything, sorry, I think I took over there. I do apologise. Is there anything else you think I might have missed? I did take over. I'm really sorry. I just ran through
that'll teach me to be late, won't it? It's a good lesson. No, you've done a great job. Probably just to mention to everybody.
I ignored.
Yeah, no, you're fine. Just to mention to everybody, I guess, that this is kind of the front face for a lot of the research that FRDC is doing at the moment too. So the capability framework that you might have been involved in or have heard about, we're planning to map that to the training and, you know, opportunities that are within the site and that tagging piece that Julie mentioned too. So it won't be that people have to come and, you know, get excited about a framework. The framework will be embedded within the tools and opportunities that we have within here, and will give us that data about, I guess, what we need and where we're going and where potentially some of those gaps are in training provision that we all know about. And probably the other one to mention is we've also got a workforce data project that's running at the moment, and again that will align with the roles that Julie mentioned we've got on the site. So we've got about 95 at the moment. But that project in particular is looking at the current and future needs of workforce across seafood. And that's very likely to come up with some other roles that we haven't potentially got on here or that are called different things. So we're trying to really bring it all together so it's in one place and it's really user friendly and, you know, practical for you and people who are looking to come into the industry to use, rather than having to go through the reports and kind of, you know, crunch the data and stuff. Thanks, Julie.
No, thank you. I think we've probably given people heaps of information at this point. So I wanted to stress again and say thank you so much to everyone in the industry who's helped us develop this to date. We've had some amazing feedback from people on the ground. And a particular thank you to both Austral and Yamba for your support of the platform. We couldn't do it without you, and the support you've provided is going to help enable us to really drive promotion and engagement with the platform over the next 12 months after the launch. Is there any sort of questions from anyone at this point? Message me privately if you've seen a typo. Rachel.
Yeah, hey, this is such an awesome website, and it's such a lot of work gone into it. We're really stoked. We wanted to do something like this way beyond our ability to do it ourselves. So yeah, we thank you. We've been talking to Tricia about some of the footage we've got on file to put some life around, you know, the text boxes. I just have a boring question. Some of those people profiles were current, say 4 years ago, but they've since moved on. Would you be okay to use people who used to be in those roles but are no longer?
I think so long as the content is kind of relevant and matches with the platform and what, like, some of the questions we're prompting people on are, you know, how'd you get into the industry? You know, what do you wish you'd known first? What did your career pathway kind of look like? So to some extent, we are going back looking at the catalogue of past resources. So Austral have sent us some existing collateral that they had in their files. So I think the short answer is yes, but we're reviewing everything on a case by case. Sally, did you want to add anything there at all?
No, I think that sounds very sensible.
I think too, oh, sorry. I was going to say too, the easy way to do that is obviously to come through here onto the Tell Us Your Story page, and there's a talent release here. So you're able to upload your video or image here and obviously sign your life away in your firstborn so that we can definitely use the footage. Very important, that component. You're coming up on my screen as Norman, but I'm assuming you're not Norman. Hello.
Yes, no, that's my dad. I set everything up for him so he doesn't get confused when he logs on. I know it's before your full launch, but I'm going to a Careers Expo on the 16th of May. And is there any materials that I could take with me for that event?
I'm sure we can chat. Yeah, definitely. How about I reach out to you? So 16th of May, was it?
Yeah, that's the Industry Skills Advisory Council.
Perfect.
Careers Expo.
If nothing else, what you'll be able to do when chatting to people is talk them through doing the little quiz on their phone. So that way they at least can have a look and start thinking through the results and what is there and start exploring. But yes, let's chat. Malcolm.
Yeah, thanks, Julie. Look, this is all really exciting, and you've done some great work to put this together. I guess for those that don't know me and know our company, Australian Longline, we operate Australian international fishing vessels, and our issue lies in the fact that the qualifications that you get in fishing vessels around Australia and the domestic fisheries don't apply across into our organisation, into our fishing vessels, and that's mainly driven by the fact that the Australian government hasn't endorsed the IMO, what we call the STCWF, which F stands for the fishing side of safety training on vessels. So I'm just interested to know if the work that you've done to date has sort of bumped into this, because currently there is no pathway for domestic fishermen, even at a skipper level, to actually work their way through qualifications onto our vessels, onto our deep sea vessels. The only way that we're aware they can do it, they actually have to restart their qualification process through the merchant navy, so-called side of things, or Royal Navy, and get their qualifications that way, and then jump onto fishing boats. So I'm just interested to know if you've come across that so far, because that is our biggest hurdle that we have, and therefore we can't employ. Well, it's hard to employ Australians that were going to come in and become officers on our boats. We have to go offshore, which just seems counterproductive. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I completely understand. The more people we talk to in this space, as we've been, I guess, in investigating this area, the more of these challenges that we are uncovering. So whether it's requirements for international workers coming in that they must legally complete but are no longer offered by an RTO, as an example, there's another barrier. So we are seeing a lot of those kinds of challenges coming through, and I really do understand it's a lot more, it's not straightforward. And I think too, we do have another, workforce development is one of our, I guess, strategic priorities within SIA. There's a number of initiatives we're working on in this space. This website is just one of them, and I suppose a more tangible one that we can showcase today. But we are actively trying to engage and work with the training organisations out there to increase the profile and capacity within those for the seafood industry, and also working with organisations such as Jobs and Skills Australia and others, trying to influence things at a higher level, more strategically, about how we can get these changes coming through and get things working more practically for people. And I hope that answers the question, but I'm happy to provide some additional info.
No, that's fine, and I'm happy to take it offline at some point in time. But as I said, I think it stems right at the very highest level and endorsing STCWF. And until the government does that, or somebody does that, then in terms of RTOs and everything else, there's no real benefit to them to start these things up. So
yeah,
horse and cart to some degree. But thanks anyway, and understand your answer. Good luck with it.
No, we're uncovering a lot of challenges in the space as we have these conversations, definitely. Is there any other questions, or Veronica, is there anything you want to add to that answer in response to Malcolm at all? Otherwise, we can start talking about next steps.
Thanks, JP. No, thanks, Malcolm. I think that has been you've raised that with us before, and it's a bit of a slow conversation. But I might arrange, when we take it offline, we might arrange a conversation with Jackie and just a small sort of like put a bit of a working group together to see how we can navigate it.
Nice, we'll note that as an action. Thank you. I did also want to say, as we're going through looking at engagement over the coming months for this platform, if there are any events that you're aware of that you're going to, or your business is attending, or other things you think we should be aware of that might be a great opportunity to promote this, please do let us know. We'd be really happy to try and, our goal is to get this, building the website has been, to some extent, the easy part, and our job now is to really make sure the ecosystem that surrounds the website is really well activated, so that we get repeat custom and get feedback and get really good videos and industry related on the ground content up there for people to view. I think too, opportunity for us to look at, eventually down the road, how this might link in with other different programs and platforms that are out there that might be promoting ag more broadly. There's a number of initiatives underway that we are aware of, so we are actively out there trying not to duplicate things, but to showcase the real opportunity that exists in seafood. Is there any other questions at all? Any last comments you'd like to make at all, Sally?
Probably just about the day in the life stuff that we mentioned before. I can't put anything in the chat, but I'm happy to send around a link to you afterwards. We've done kind of an automated thing that you can do on your phone. It's a little bit creepy the first time you look at it, but trust me, it does help you do it. And it kind of prompts you with the questions that Julie was saying before that are on the list there. So you can record it if you want to. If you're video shy like me, you don't have to show your face. You can do an audio one, or you can do a video as well. And then, as Julie said, the tips are on the page about how you might want to film that, and what's some good best practice about light and location, and just looking awesome basically. So we'll share that with you after today's session. Thanks, Julie.
Yeah, so it's basically an app that you can utilize on your phone, and it can either stitch together content that you're filming live or content that you already might have in your phone to sort of create the storyboard that you might like. The more we can get in that space that sort of shows industry authentically coming through, I think the better. That's something that we can't really manufacture, so that's really exciting to get industry engaged at that level. Cool. Thank you so much for dialing in. We really do appreciate it. Very much looking forward to getting some additional feedback from you guys. If you need any assistance with doing the videos, any other tips and tricks, please do let us know. This has been something that we've been working on for a while, so it's exciting to have it out there and for you guys to have a look at and give us some feedback on. And thank you again to our sponsors, FRDC, DAFF, people like Sam and Rachel, who's had a look at stuff over the last 12 months for us as well, and Tricia Beattie as well. So really appreciate the feedback. Well, thank you guys. Well, I'm gifting you back 19 minutes. Have a wonderful day.